Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Charura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. We salute Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva and the bliss of Mother Devaki, who destroyed the forces, evil forces of Kamsa and Chanura. To Krishna as Guru and God, we salute. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 9. We have also subtitled it, The Inscrutable, Creator and Creation. This, as we have mentioned, the chapter is the sovereign knowledge and the sovereign mystery, or the kingly knowledge, the highest, that's what it means. The highest knowledge and the highest mystery. And we have seen how the Lord has spoken about by subjugating Prakriti, keeping it under control. The Lord over and over projects this universe consisting of souls and everything else. This verse now takes up that thread. And we've seen how he's mentioned it, though I exist in them. Yeah, really I don't exist in them. They exist in me. Like air, that massive air that flows in space. You cannot say air touches space. Air is a kind of an entity that is flowing, and it has to flow in space. So the whole of creation is projected from this being. So he had said, I project forth again and again the whole of this multitude of created things, which are helpless under the influence of Prakriti. Here we are. Imagine. We think we know better. Completely. We are just pushed out. Even if you don't want to, you better get out. And pulled in. And this universe is massive. Yeah. So these acts of his, what are they? Here he speaks about them. O Dhananjaya, nor do these actions bind me, remaining as I do, like one unconcerned with and unattached to these actions. After creating, after projecting this whole thing, why is God so unconcerned and unattached to the creation? Yes, now for us, this creation is real. My life is real. My pain is real. My suffering is real. Everything is so real, so tangible. And we had given an example of, if I burn my finger, that thing is intense, but yet when I see somebody burning or a house burning, I forget this pain. So as I slowly transcend the limited for something which is greater than the limited, these things become insignificant, irrelevant. So the Lord is positing that this Lord, the entity, the being, the supreme being, is so vast that creation is just a small part in the ocean of existence. Compare it with a Pacific here. We have a beautiful Pacific Ocean. It's vast and huge. Take a few drops of water from there. Yeah, it is the Pacific Ocean, but what are the few drops of water compared to the whole ocean? So this brings us the idea that the Lord, the being, the supreme being, is vast. And creation is just a few bubbles on this surface of existence. That's the reason why he says, nor do those actions bind me, remaining as I do like one unconcerned with and unattached to those actions. Nachamam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmashu. Teshu, those actions, karmashu. Now, what happens is, you'll have to go to the Upanishads to understand like what. The illustration is given like when fire is kind of lit and the fuel, the wood, is wet, you get diverse smoke. Similarly, from this supreme being arises the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, Itihas, the history, Puranas, the mythology, sutras, everything comes out from this being. How? It's like the breath of the infinite. This is one of those great dialogues between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. So at the end of that one section, he says, this whole process of creation is just like a breath of this infinite. Now, if we are breathing, am I saying, I am breathing, I am breathing? You are living, you have to breathe. So it is as natural as breathing. These acts of creation, etc., 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 what the Lord does. And because it's so natural, the idea of I am doing it does not arise. Yeah, suppose I tell you, oh, are you breathing? Yeah, I'm breathing. Then your attention goes there. But when you're doing everything, your attention is not on breath, though it is going on spontaneously, naturally, inevitably. So this whole process of projecting this universe, retracting it, again projecting it, retracting it, is natural, like that infinite being breathing out and breathing in. This is God. We had spoken last time about we need to change our ideas of God. And what is this reality? It's so massive. It's infinite. Even in other places of the Upanishad, they say it's like sparks fly out from fire. So also, all these worlds, they emerge out of that spontaneously. That's what he said. O Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, nor do those actions bind me, remaining as I do like one unconcerned with and unattached to those actions. So imagine that vast, you can say, body of air flowing in space. What does space do? Hey, these guys are in me. The space is space. So, nibadnanti, they do not bind me. The commentators, most of them, following the Advaitic line of reasoning, saying, because this world is like a magic by the magician, throws out this world. Now, what is real? And who is real? The magic or the magician? So the magician has certain powers through which the magician projects an illusion, and you see that, and you're enamored, you're engaged, you're challenged, and then when everything is over, oh, it was magic. That's why it's called magic. So what is real? Creation, for us right now, because we have the sense of the identity, the solid I, it becomes real. What makes the world real is the sense of I. Now, in Vedanta, one of the first principles to understand creation, created creatures is creator, creation, creatures is one entity. The moment you kind of start separating things, creator is there, creation is there, and we poor souls are here. What are we doing here? No, you have to bring all these three elements together. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. These three. It has to be there. Then you can start understanding what is Vedanta in the classical sense of it. So when you speak about this whole creation is nothing but a part of that universal being, and is doing it effortlessly. Okay. So much for the idea of not attached, not concerned, because the Lord in its highest aspects is far beyond your petty thoughts and lives and doings, everything. Swami Vivekananda also gives, we are doing life and death struggles here like puppies. So God knows what puppies play is. We want our God to take our life seriously. Well, even we don't take our life seriously at times. And in a hilarious note, he says, he's brainless, God, of course. He's fooling us with little brains. So we have brains, and you know how we are now moving about, running about. Brain work, left and right brain, left and right hemisphere. So remember Swamiji's words. But what is the position of God? I mean, that's supreme reality. It's just kind of completely detached. No, as consciousness, which is involved in every small processes, the Lord is the supervisor or the seer of everything. And the next verse, the 10th verse, gives us an idea. Now he is kind of bringing it down to our level of understanding. Under me, who am the supervisor or the seer, Prakriti nature, produces the universe with all the moving and the non-moving things. Owing to this reason, O son of Kunti, that is Arjuna, the universe is constantly transforming itself there. So we have the Supreme Being as a supervisor. He's supervising everything. But as saying, completely detached. Though he's supervising, he's not attached to the actions also. So that's the reason, under my supervision, Maya Adhyakshena. Adhyaksha is like Adi and Aksha, that to see correctly. Prakriti, and we have seen what is Prakriti means. Pra is to move forward, and Kri is something to do. And we've seen this whole nature, how it works outside as inside. One thing arises, and from that one thing, multiple things arises. So from the one, the many emerge. Yet the many have the identity of that one, that essential ground of being. So here, my Adhyakshena, that is my supervision. There are many philosophies that say nature is dull, dead, insentient, and it has no uses. So even in Buddhism, this nature is a self-correcting, self-organizing mechanism. And it moves on. You don't need anybody or anything. Vedanta will say, no, it's consciousness that guides everything. In the Upanishad also, everything is guided by consciousness. Every processes. So here, the Lord, identifying himself as that supervisor, sees the whole processes, though the processes are just a part of the Lord's nature. So, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetuna Nena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. Suyate creates, projects, and there's no word creation, as I said, it's the word projection. What? All the moving and the unmoving things. And in the nature we see both things, moving and unmoving. That which is unmoving, like a mountain, suddenly, boom, it explodes, the volcano comes out. And so these things, both the moving and the unmoving, are constantly transiting. The transition between moving becomes unmoving, and the unmoving becomes moving. That's the reason why I think both these are projected. Who does that? Nature does it under the supervision of the Lord. That is kind of clear. So, obviously, what happens is we have this idea in Vedanta that nature, Prakriti or Maya, is not different, it's non-different. I had given an example of the creator, creation, and creatures as one entity. So we might come into the idea, what happens, our minds, our consciousness wants to see things, understand things from the dualistic standpoint, always. And so nature is considered the material cause of this universe. But the material cause itself has come from God. And God is now the efficient cause of the universe. It's called Upadana and Nimitta Karana. Nimitta is that God is the efficient cause because of his supervision. And the material also comes from God. It is the body of God. So when you look at your own body, okay, yeah. So the Lord looks at the whole creation, okay, this is mine, yeah. So only in our case, we get attached to this. In the Lord's case, He's not attached to it. That's the big difference. And the day we can understand that we have to get attached to the Lord, not to the body, that is freedom. As simple as that. So this is under my supervision. There it is. Maya Adhyakshena, under my supervision, Prakriti, nature, projects this universe of moving and unmoving. There is no other reason. And because of this reason, Hetu, everything keeps on transforming. So the Lord is unchangeable, the universe is unchangeable. Now we are talking about, very, very deep secrets and deep knowledge. And the Lord has promised Arjuna that I will tell you this. We may come to it in years to come. Yeah. Because we just want to feel, the Lord is kind of an intimate, you can say, entity. So in the next verse, he brings it down to our level. So from that huge, you can say, massive ideas of creation and reality and God, etc., the 11th verse is, this is a verse, not knowing my supreme nature as the Lord of all beings, foolish people disregard me who have taken a human body. There. Now you can understand. We're talking about right now a personal God. And not only a personal God that has descended to our level as an avatar. So this is one of the first verses I heard my guru say, and that has stuck with me, like gorilla glue. Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Saying, not knowing my supreme nature as the Lord of all beings. Here, people disregard me who have taken the appearance of a human body. When we see, Sri Ramakrishna, oh my God. Oh. Today is Swami Vijnanananda's birthday. I forgot to mention it. And one of his sister had gone to bathe in the Ganga, and she came. And she found that her brother wasn't there. Then he's saying, where were you? I had gone to Dakshineshwar. That Dakshineshwar? He had gone to meet that mad Brahmin of Dakshineshwar. He has spoiled the brains of 350 young men. Who could recognize? Who could recognize Rama? Only 12 sages. Who could recognize Sri Krishna? Who can recognize an avatar? It's only when they reveal themselves that we can recognize. But for all practical purposes, here it is that the word used is Foolish people, Muda. Fools. Only fools do not recognize me. And that's because we cannot recognize ourselves. Only those who can recognize themselves in the truest sense of the term, they can recognize the divinity in others. And at times you can really see, as Sri Ramakrishna asking some of his disciples, what do you think of me? Some of them say, oh my God, you are God. And Sri Ramakrishna very pleased. He said, he recognized me. So, you can understand there are some who recognize an incarnation. There are some who don't recognize an incarnation. But even if you say, oh, this is an incarnation, oh, really? It's like us. We do the same thing he's doing. There's no fundamental difference. But the inner vision hasn't opened up. That great Lord of the beings of all creation, the supervisor under whose command the wind blows and from whom everything emerges out like a breath. He's saying it's a breath of the eternal. There's a book, The Breath of the Eternal. All creation emerges out spontaneously, naturally from this being. And for this being to come as a human being, who's going to recognize him? Swamiji also heard many times, he who was Rama, who was Krishna, is now Ramakrishna. But it was only towards the end when Sri Ramakrishna, he saw, was suffering from that throat cancer. It's painful, he's suffering. And Swamiji is there, he's saying, now if he says it, then I'll believe it. And Sri Ramakrishna mustered all his strength and says, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna, has come now as Ramakrishna. But not in your Vedantic sense. That's a different. So here it is. This same Vivekananda who doubted all through was a big wake-up call for him. And later on, in his mature years, he could not speak about Sri Ramakrishna without becoming tremendously emotional, spiritual emotions, of course. And apart from his two lectures, which are combined into one as My Master, he speaks about, but he has written about Sri Ramakrishna. And his writing, one of his writing is the Vespers hymn that we sing every day. These two hymns speak about Sri Ramakrishna in his macrocosmic aspect, in his microcosmic aspect as an avatar. That's why I tell people, you pay attention to what you are singing during Vespers, because this is the new discipline for this age. If you don't do any spiritual disciplines, but if you can contemplate on these words of Swami Vivekananda, you'll be freed. And because he starts this word, the word breaker of this world's chains, khandana bhava bandhana. Yes. Because these are spoken from a very highly inspired state of mind. And in one place he says that after churning all the infinite ocean of the Vedas and that nectar which has come out, and into which all the gods have poured in their strength, and into which also has contributed all the avatars with their realization, that Sri Ramakrishna holds in his body, in his fullest measure. Praptham yadvai tvanadi nidanam vedo dadim matitva Dathamyasya prakarane harihara brahmadideva. So all this whole realization of the Vedas and Vedanta and everything is held in the body of that avatar. That's what this verse means. That's what my guru was trying to convey. And it took me years and years and years and years and years and years to understand. That is what happens. So I had gone with this idea of incarnation to ask him. And he told me, you're a fool, in a way, indirectly. Avajananti ma muda manushim tanumas. Those, he's saying, those foolish people disregard me who have taken a human body. We see the human body, but we don't see the entirety of creation within that human body. Do we see the whole of the Pacific Ocean in a drop of that water? No. We call it a drop of water. When you can see the whole ocean, then you have really seen an incarnation. You have seen the reality. You have known the reality. And there it is. So that reality which is inscrutable, as we have mentioned it, it's very inscrutable. The whole creation and creator and all these creatures and innumerable things are dying and being born, the moving and the unmoving. This is the huge, vast, complex, you can say, creation. Everything is linked to everything else. That very, you can say, mystery is in the body of an incarnation. Yeah. There it is. I think this is clear. We don't need anything more to know. It's like you have now seen the ocean in a drop of water. And that's why to make this knowledge and this mystery tangible, accessible, and remove the inscrutable and make it scrutable, to have an intimate relationship with this, an incarnation comes. Otherwise, we have so many people claiming that they are incarnations and they are incarnations. They don't realize what they are talking about. Sometimes I used to get angry at times when I was younger. Now I don't. Okay, so how deluded can a person get? So this is the doctrine of an incarnation also, an avatar. How and why does an avatar emerge, appear? Like us in all ways, yet far, 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 far transcendent. In that incarnation is the whole of creation. When Swamiji was there, again, all the disciples were gathered around him. He was like stricken with that cancer. And you know what? He looks at all of them, you're beaming. And then he couldn't speak because of that pain. So he makes a gesture. He does this and he does this. And then he asks each and every disciple who were around his bed, what did you understand? It was only Swami Vivekananda who says, the entire creation has come from you. And Sri Ramakrishna beamed. He looked at Raja Maharaj saying, this is a guy who got it. This is what the whole thing is. So he just showed one gesture. Swamiji could get it. that the entire creation has come from him. This person got cancer, he is worn out, weak, can't speak, and his body is racked with pain. Who can make such a declaration? So once our inner eye opens, then it becomes clear. We see that this Lord is the Lord of all beings. So when again in Kashipur, when he was asked, tell your Divine Mother to cure you a little so that you can eat a little. Swamiji himself insisted. So the Divine Mother said, why? You are eating through so many mouths. And he himself has said, I will live in the hearts of the devotees and accept their worship. Here it is. So who can say all this? Who's there, gone inside and is accepting all it? So here he's saying, Mama Bhuta Maheshwara, the Lord of all beings. And that's why the Muda, the people who are fools, people like us, we're all fools. We think we are smart just because we carry a smartphone. Actually, that is smart, we are dumb. It's making us more and more dumber every day. In the sense of knowledge and ignorance, we are still held under the thraldom of our limited ideas about the Godhead, about the reality. If the reality favors me, God is good. If it doesn't is unfavorable, God is bad. That's the devil's work, then we blame. That's the devil's work. So where's the devil? The devil is there. But let's not go into that. So this is the secret of the doctrines of an incarnation. You're seeing an incarnation. Don't just see from the surface. See the whole of creation within. Everything has come out from within. So this is the inscrutable creator and creation, creatures and God, creator, the projector. Once we understand one side of the equation, you can solve the whole equation. You know one value in the equation, you will solve it. So you got to start with yourself. Dive down deeper and you will find that you yourself, which was so inscrutable to yourself, our personalities are very inscrutable. You know, people think we know. I know myself. Yeah, you don't know yourself. So there are other people who will judge you according to their standard, and they will interpret you according to standard. The guy is inscrutable. So as you keep on plunging deeper and deeper, you become scrutable. You know yourself. And that's what the old adage was in Athens, in Greece. Know thyself. Yeah, know thyself. That's the perfect, know thyself. It can mean two things. You know yourself, or you don't depend on others to know. You depend on yourself to know it. So once you know this side of the equation, then you can understand everything else. It becomes crystal clear. So this vast reality that was spoken of up till now has now come to us in a tangible form. This is what. And as you see in the other verses, that Swami Vivekananda was called the awakener of soul. The incarnation comes with this knowledge to awaken us. So just go to the incarnation and say, this is what I want, and that is what you will get. We'll stop here for the inscrutable becoming the scrutable. The scrutable creator and creation. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. I didn't want to get into too deep things because it will create all the... Thank you. We can stop here for now. Next Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving, but we will have a class. That's a great Thanksgiving. Nice way to end your Thanksgiving day. Om, peace, peace, peace.